And James just asked a quick question. He said, is there a video how to use the PowerOptions website to max effect? Now, James, there is. So at any time, you can go to the webinars page, free webinars. It's powerop.com/webinars.asp. You can go to that public page at any time. And if you start off in the PowerOptions tools, you can scroll down here, and there's some various presentations on the stock repair tool, using the search tool in PowerOptions. The one that I think is likely the best for what your question directly is relating, and I just lost it, is actually from a few years ago. This is called your one-stop shop for options investing. And this webinar goes through, as you can see here, using the patented search tools, analysis, charting, and using the portfolio to track and manage the positions. There's a lot of tools there. We don't necessarily use them all every day, okay? But what I commonly do, James, is when I first log on to PowerOptions in the morning, is I have my watch list here of the current stocks I'm in. These are the married put positions, and I've got UVX here as well. I don't have my newest position in there, MAS, right? Let me add that. That was entered this week for the Fusion subscribers at Radioactive Trading. Down a little bit, but not too bad. That's why I have a put in place on it. And then if we go to, usually what I have in list 2 or list 3 are positions I might have credit spreads on as well. Gary's got a question on credit spreads in just a moment, and so forth. So I see what the action is. 9:35, 9:40 in the morning, I look at it there. Then the next step I'm going to do is go to the portfolio tools, as we just saw. I'm going to look at my positions, see if I'm nervous about any of them here, if any of these positions need to be rolled or adjusted. I would have set alerts in my portfolio as well. And of course, if I go to the other ones here, this is a webinar account, so it's not the actual, this is the actual married put positions we have in the Fusion portfolio for my side of it. And, so I'm looking at these positions to decide what I want to do with an adjustment, if I need to roll any of these positions, and I would have set alerts to notify me that as well. Now, that's the first step in the morning. That's how I first start using it. Well, now, I've been using PowerOptions for a long time, so I have a lot of searches I've already saved, searches I've already created for different strategies. So, Monday, I'm not opening any new positions because the market's closed, of course. But on Tuesday, I have 3 bull puts that expired this week. If I decide to go into the next cycle, and open bull put credits, I'll go to my strategy for this portion of my portfolio. I'll go to search, and there we go. This is the default weekly bull puts. Now, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but this is the setup that I use for opening new 2 to 3, 4 bull put credit spreads at a time. Okay, each 2-week cycle, and set up a specific way. Am I going to just jump in and take the top 3? Absolutely not. Now we're getting more into that research and analysis. I'm going to take a look at the stock chart. Take a look at the company information. Is there any news? I know Netflix, but is there any news I should be hesitant about? I'm specifically removing positions that have an earnings between now and expiration, but I still might want to check, of course, the detailed stock research tool to see if there are any other events that are coming up. Does the stock pay a dividend? When's the dividend coming up? When was the last earnings? Is it coming up after this period, or is it potentially coming up? Has it already passed? In that case, that's what I look at as well. I could, of course, select that column also. Okay, so I'll narrow this down and I'll do my research and analysis, and then I'm ready to pick the 3 or 4 bull put credit spreads I'm willing to open at that time for the new cycle. I'll enter them into the portfolio and enter my alerts as before. And as the positions move up and down, we'll do the same thing, James, that we saw with the other strategy. I'll go to that position analysis view and evaluate if there's any rollout opportunities or adjustments if my alerts are triggered. That's essentially what I do in the first half of the day. Now, there's a lot of other tools that are very helpful. First one being the market sentiment. We've done videos on this recently. When I see the market sentiment go to a bearish sell warning, I may want to consider adding extra protection on my married puts or selling calls on my married puts. If I've been in my bull puts for a week or so, 5 days at this point, and I see this go into more of a bearish sell warning, or even now a sell warning, I may consider closing some of the profitable bull put spreads, adjusting down, or maybe converting some of them to a bear put debit spread if I'm concerned about a market pullback or a market downturn. We use the market sentiment to help us with those decisions. If we think the market's going to turn, you see a lot of red here in my portfolio today on the married put stocks and one big green one, relative green one, but that's okay. They're still all doing exactly what I want. This is what I wanted to have happen on DAR because I sold the 70 call for next week. So I'm hoping it expires worthless. It was up to 72 and then it's pulled down the last 3 days. If it goes back above 70, I'm going to roll this call just like we saw with David's position a few moments ago. Okay. But then I'll continue to learn. I'll continue to study other strategies. If I see the sell warning goes off, maybe I'm going to buy some other ETFs, some inverse ETFs, or potentially some volatility ETFs or options on volatility ETFs to protect maybe the calendar spread portion of my portfolio or other portions that'll be exposed if the market pulls back as well. That's essentially how I use it, and then look for new positions. And honestly, of course, the rest of the remaining day, I'm on other accounts for customers doing coaching sessions, helping them set up their search or going over the tools or even going through the portfolio positions they have. We're going to discuss those too with some of the questions that came up as well. And the signature tools, of course, you have some great tools here. If you doing calendar spreads, the volatility skew might be very useful. Spread chain's useful for comparing parity trades. If I'm thinking about going to a bull put, if I'm opening positions on Tuesday, I'll actually go to the spread chain and look at the parity bull call debit to see if I feel I can get a little bit more bang for the buck over the debit spread versus the bull put. It's a possibility. Long option finder, that helps us identify the best calls to buy if we think a stock is going to move up, 6, 7, 8% in the next month. I'll plug in those values and it'll show me which call option would give me the best return. Or if I think the market's going to fall 5, 6, 7%, I can put that into the long option finder as well and see which put option might give me the best possible return. The stock repair tool is very powerful. If you've got a stock that's fallen or a covered call that's declined in price, let's say drop 10, 12%, you're underwater by about 8% and you're only going to get 1% premium selling out of the money covered calls. Well, you can plug that into the stock repair. It'll build a ratio call spread for you against your stock. Nothing's naked. Selling 2 calls, for example, against 100 shares of stock and buying a long call. So essentially you're in a covered call with a bull call debit, but it might get you back to break even faster without having to try to generate 8 months worth of 1.5% premium by selling out of the money calls. You could probably do it maybe 2 months with stock repair. And if you have, of course, a stock that's up in price, you want to lock in some of those unrealized gains and continue the trade. The insurance tool will show you the best puts to buy to lock in the most profit on those positions as well. So that's a very quick overview, but the more detailed, again, go to the free webinars page, powerop.com/webinars.asp. Scroll down in the tools section of 2017. I believe it was May, your one-stop shop for options investing. That's what I feel goes over all the tools, how we use them, how I use them, and what you can do in other positions as well. That's what I have there for you. So you want to check that one out, your one-stop shop for options investing. You can also search that title, right on our YouTube channel, and it'll pop up as well.